So let us discuss some important concepts. In the human physiology, we'll be having the various different concepts. So the most of the students are getting confusion. So let us focus on that. Generally, in the human physiology, we have respiratory system as per the need, circulatory system, excretion or excretory system, then nervous system, along with that endocrine system, reproductive system. So these are the major concepts, right? So we'll focus on the terminology. Then if you go with that endocrine system, what do you mean by endocrine system? Endocrine system, which includes endocrine glands. What do you mean by endocrine glands? Endocrine glands are the glands which are produces hormones. Here we need to focus what do you mean by hormone and glands. So generally glands in our body two types. Those are exocrine and endocrine. Exocrine and endocrine. These exocrine and endocrine glands categorized based on the presence and absence of ducts. Here, what do you mean by duct? Duct is a tubular structure. Duct is a tubular structure. This tubular structure helps to pass the particular secretions. What do you mean that? Okay. So here, best example as we discussed, these glands are categorized based on presence and absence of ducts. Here, exocrine glands, example, if you check it out, salivary glands. Salivary glands. Here, we should have an idea. These salivary glands in our body, three pairs of salivary glands. The first one is parotid gland, second one is submandibular or also called as submaxillary, then third one is sublingual. Here the term lingual, it means tongue. Fine. So these parotid which are near the ear, then submandibular or submaxillary at the angles of jaw, sublingual below the tongue. Then what they are doing? These salivary glands, these three pairs of salivary glands will have ducts, and these ducts are drain into oral cavity or mouth, which produces the saliva. So actually what's happening? The salivary glands are producing saliva that can be passed through the ducts into mouth. So that is the reason we are calling these are called as exocrine. Here it is, if you focus, exo means out. The term crinin, nothing but secretion. The term crinin means secretion, means the secretion which can be sent outside through the ducts. Hence it is called as what? Exocrine glands. Then what about the endocrine? And there itself, endo means inside. Same manner, crenin is nothing but secretion. Crenin means secretion. Here it is, if you check it out, these endocrine glands, they will be releasing the secretions. What are those secretions? Hormones. Here what do you mean by hormone? Hormone is a chemical substance. Hormone is a chemical substance, and these hormones are intercellular messengers. Hormones are intercellular messengers. The first thing is, hormones are the chemical substances which are produces in trace in amount, and these are called as intercellular messengers. Then what do you mean by intercellular messenger? There itself should split the term inter. Inter means intra, and sorry, inter means in between, and one more term is there, intra. Here the most of the students, they are getting confusion, intra and inter. Inter means between, intra means inside. Intra means inside. So generally we are using the term intercellular fluid, which is nothing but tissue fluid. Intercellular fluid, which is nothing but what? Tissue fluid. Suppose these are all the cells present in a tissue. The fluid which flows in between, that, which is nothing but what? Intercellular fluid. It's called as tissue fluid. There what we are using the term inter. Am I clear? And one more is there, intra. What is that? Intracellular. Suppose if you take a cell which has a fluid, that is nothing but what? Cytoplasm. What is that? Cytoplasm. We'll be taking as an example for the intracellular fluid. What is that? Intracellular fluid. Okay now. Fine. So we'll go with one by one endocrine glands. Okay now. Right. So next, one by one, endocrine glands in the body. Endocrine glands. Then first one, hypothalamus. First one is hypothalamus, and second one is pituitary gland. Then third one is pineal gland. Next, fourth one is thyroid gland. Fifth one is parathyroid gland. And sixth one is thymus. Next one is pancreas. Then gonads. Here gonads are testes and ovaries, and along with that one more, adrenal gland. Right. So these are the various endocrine glands where we have in our body. Then if you observe the position wise, hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal, which are placed in the head region. The position also important. Am I clear? Then thyroid, parathyroid, these two are present in the neck region. Right? Thymus, chest. The next one is pancreas. This is abdomen. And here which has a priority, that is nothing but it is a exocrine gland and also neuroendocrine gland. So generally we are considering this pancreas is a heterocrine gland. Hetero means different. Here which will be having exocrine portion along with that endocrine portion. Hence it is called as heterocrine gland. Next one, adrenal. So adrenal which is present above the kidney. Which is present above the kidney. So generally kidney is present dorsal side. Here also the student they are getting little confusion where the dorsal and ventral. Then everywhere the terminology which is the most important thing should have an idea and clarity about the particular part which you are discussing. At what context the question is asking in the examination. Here dorsal where the vertebral column is located. Where the vertebral column is located. Along with that ventral abdomen side. Ventral abdomen. Okay. Here again the most of the students they are getting little confusion that vertebral column and spinal cord. Vertebral column and spinal cord. Okay now. Spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. Fine. Vertebral column is made up of with vertebrae. So vertebrae are the bony structures where which helps to form the vertebral column and that will be protecting the spinal cord. Okay. Next, move on to the gonad. Here, what do you mean by gonad? Here also confusion. Gonad and gamete. What is the difference? Gonad and gamete. Gonad is reproductive organ. Gonad is reproductive organ. Then gamete is reproductive cell. Reproductive cell. Male gamete, male gonad. Male gonads producing male gamete. Female gonad producing female gamete. So let us discuss one by one. Then first of all, if you check it out, these all the endocrine glands forms the endocrine system. The study of endocrine system is called as endocrinology. Endocrinology. The first hormone is secretin. First hormone is secretin. Father of endocrinology, Thomas Edison. Father of endocrinology, Thomas Edison. Okay now. Right? So first hormone is secretin and which will be releasing from the S cells of duodenum. So duodenum is in C shape. See here we are discussing the multiple concepts and where we'll be focusing in the examination point of view along with the endocrinology. Okay, right? Right. So first one is hypothalamus. As I told you, hypothalamus. So this hypothalamus, it is known as master of master gland. Hypothalamus is known as what? Master of master gland. And pituitary. Pituitary is master gland. Pituitary is master gland of endocrine. Here the condition is all the endocrine glands and the controlling of the pituitary gland. This pituitary gland is stimulated by the hypothalamus. And one more important aspect, this hypothalamus is neuroendocrine portion. So there itself, which is what? Neuroendocrine portion. Then why do you call it is a neuroendocrine portion, because it is a part of the nervous system and which has a function of endocrine. Hormones also will be secreting, hence it is called as what? Neuroendocrine portion. Okay, so these hypothalamus stimulate the pituitary gland to release the various hormones, hence it is called as what? Master of master gland. These hypothalamus will be releasing two types of hormones. One is releasing hormones and one more is inhibiting hormone. Inhibiting hormones. So here releasing, which are nothing but what? Stimulating hormones. Inhibiting, the term inhibition means suppression or decreasing or to stop, right? So these two types of hormones are releasing from the hypothalamus region. So generally hypothalamus will have a specialized cells or called as neurosecretory cells. There itself neurosecretory cells. Here it is, if you observe neurosecretory cells, the cells which are having a nature to secrete the hormones in the same manner, that is a part of the nervous system, hence it is called as what? Neurosecretory cells, and the cell's name is called as nuclei. What is that? Nuclei. Just have a glance on that. Then how the hypothalamus? Yeah. Then if you check it out, hypothalamus. Then as I told you that hypothalamus is a part of what? So this hypothalamus is a part of the nervous system. Here it is, if you observe, so this is a hypothalamus and this hypothalamus stimulates the pituitary gland. This is a pituitary gland. But what's happening? This hypothalamus will have a specialized cells, as I told you, called what? Neurosecretory cells, and those are nothing but what? Nuclei. So let us have a glance on the hypothalamus anatomy, how it is. See here, this is a hypothalamus region. Then as I told you, these are nuclei. What are those? Neurosecretory cells, and these neurosecretory cells are called as nuclei, and which will be producing the hormones. And these hormones are two types, as I told you what? That is a releasing hormones and as well as what? Inhibiting hormone. Then whatever the hormones are releases from these nuclei or neurosecretory cells, which stimulates the pituitary. So that too, the pituitary will have two partitions. One is anterior and posterior. Here these neurosecretory cells will have a connection to the pituitary through the specialized axons. Am I clear? And that can be stimulate the anterior pituitary. So let us have a glance on the hormones which releases from the hypothalamus, how those are, right? Yeah, see here, if you check it out, we'll be having releasing hormone and as well as inhibiting hormone. Suppose here, this is what? Growth hormone, releasing hormone. The first thing is hypothalamus will have two types of hormones. One is what? Releasing, and one more is what? Inhibiting. So here these releasing hormone, example is growth hormone, releasing hormone. What is that? Growth hormone, releasing hormone. There itself, this growth hormone, releasing hormone means the growth hormone which helps to stimulate the releasing of growth hormone from the pituitary. What's happening here? This growth hormone, stimulate the pituitary gland. Growth hormone, releasing hormone, stimulate the pituitary gland to release what? Growth hormone. Growth hormone also called as somatotropin. Somatotropin, or also called as somatotropic hormone. And here the clarity should have about the terms tropic and trophic. Tropic, then trophic. So generally some of the students are getting confusion regarding these two terms. Trophic, which represents the nourishment, about the nutrition. We are using what? Autotrophic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. The pronunciation also important. Here tropic, which has an ability to stimulate. What you are telling here? Somatotropic hormone. What do you mean by somato? Somatic part, body part. So these all the body parts has to be stimulated by the hormone is called as growth hormone, or also called as somatotropic hormone, STH. What is that? STH, somatotropic hormone or growth hormone or somatotropin. Am I clear? And for this inhibiting hormone is somatostatin. Somatostatin. What is this? Somatostatin. So this is a growth hormone, inhibiting hormone. That's it. Because the thing here, the simple, we can observe the maximum height of the human beings will be 15 or 16 years, 17 as per the age. The maximum by 18 years, 17 years, the growth will be stopped. What is the reason? Until unless this growth hormone releasing will be releasing ample in amount. But whenever there is the maximum height, this growth hormone, inhibiting hormone will be released to suppress the growth. Am I clear? So that is the reason this growth hormone releasing hormone stimulate the pituitary gland to produce the growth hormone. Okay, in the same manner, inhibiting hormones which suppress. So like that, gonadotropin releasing hormone, gonadotropin inhibiting hormone. Am I clear? So the various hormones will be releasing from the hypothalamus as releasing, and as well as what? The same time inhibiting hormone. If you check it out, corticotropin releasing hormone, which helps to release the ACTH hormone. And the next one is gonadotropin releasing hormone. Am I clear? Thyrotropin releasing hormone, which stimulates the pituitary to release the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, and to release what? Thyroxine by the stimulation of thyroid gland. So like this, these hypothalamus plays a major role to stimulate the pituitary gland to release the various hormones. Hence it is considered as what? Master of the master gland, which is nothing but what? Master gland is pituitary gland. Okay. So let us discuss about the hormones from the pituitary. Right. So next one is what? Pituitary gland. So generally, pituitary gland will have various partitions, the various regions, such as anterior, middle and posterior. So which will be having anterior lobe, middle lobe, then posterior lobe. So generally the middle lobe which is merged with the anterior lobe. Anterior lobe is also called as what? Adenohypophysis. So here this is adenohypophysis, then neurohypophysis. Okay now, adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. So these adenohypophysis completely under the controlling of what? Hypothalamus, which is nothing but anterior, and here it is what? Posterior. It is what? Posterior. Okay. Then if you check it out, the hormones of the pituitary gland. So those are various hormones releases from the anterior, middle and posterior. One minute. So from the anterior, growth hormone, which is nothing but STH, then first of all hormones from the anterior pituitary, STH or growth hormone. Second one TSH, opposite, thyroid stimulating hormone. Then third one is ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. Next one is FSH and LH. FSH, LH, so generally we are considered gonadotropins. Gonadotropins, here also see tropin, TROPI, gonadotropins means what? These hormones are stimulating the reproductive organs, are nothing but gonads. Next one is prolactin. Next one is what? Prolactin. Okay. Then from the middle lobe and the neurohypophysis, the posterior lobe, different hormones. MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone from the middle lobe. Then posterior lobe, which will be releasing oxytocin and as well as vasopressin. Oxytocin and vasopressin. Clear? So these are the hormones. Fine. Then already we discussed about the growth hormone, but the growth hormone function which helps to increase the bones, length of the bones. Here regarding the bone, will be having epiphyseal plates. Epiphyseal plates, as I told you, the terminology will be there. So epiphyseal plates which will be placed in the bone region, that helps to lengthening. So if you check it out, a small baby will be having legs, hands are very smaller in size, but aging 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 6, 10, 15, what's happening? The length of the organism will be increased due to the reason what? These epiphyseal plates will be increasing, which helps to lengthening of the bone size and as well as tissues also. So epiphyseal plate size will be increased, lengthening of the bones, tissues and as well as the organs. Hence it is called as what? Growth hormone. Then move on to the TSH. Thyroid stimulating hormone. So there itself we are calling it is what? TSH. What does it mean? Thyroid stimulating hormone. Thyroid stimulating hormone. TSH, which will be releasing from the pituitary. And from that, which activates or stimulates the thyroid gland, Am I clear? So that thyroid gland releasing what? Thyroxine. Thyroid releasing thyroxine. The sequence, if you check it out, initially pituitary releasing what? TSH. So that TSH will be stimulating the thyroid gland. Then thyroid gland releasing what? Thyroxine. So these thyroxine responsible for controlling the BMR. The basal metabolic rate will be controlled by the thyroxine hormones. Am I clear? Right? So just have a glance on the hormones of pituitary gland. Okay. Right. So if you observe, so these hormones, once I have a glance on this, Right. So then if you observe that these are the neurosecretory cells and these are the axons, and here hypothalamic portal system. Through the hypothalamic portal system, the hormones which can be passed and that will be stimulate the anterior pituitary. Here portal system given. Portal means what? Vessels which can be starts with capillary and ends with capillary. Simple we can conclude. That is nothing but what? Portal system. Here if you check it out, these anterior pituitary, then as I given the list of the hormones such as growth hormone along with the bones and skeletal tissues will be developed and tissue size length will be increased, and next one is what? TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. See here, from here the thyroid stimulating hormone stimulates the activate the thyroid gland to release the thyroid hormones such as what? T3, T4. Triiodothyronine, tetraiodothyronine. So generally thyroid gland releasing what? T3, T4. Triiodothyronine, tetraiodothyronine. Am I clear? So in that this T4 is a thyroxine which helps to maintaining the BMR, and next one is ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone. There itself, adrenocorticotropic hormone. The cortex part, am I clear? The cortex part of the adrenal gland which is stimulated. This is cortex part, and from the pituitary what's happening? This ACTH hormone stimulating the cortex region to release various hormones. Actually cortex and medulla, they have two regions present in the adrenal gland will be releasing two different hormones. Especially if you check it out, these adrenal cortex will be releasing various hormones, the group or the set of hormones such as glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and sex corticoids. So we'll discuss little later. Then next one more along with that, FSH and LH. There itself, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone. Actually these FSH, LH will have a separate function in both male and females. FSH, what you are telling? Follicle stimulating hormone. Generally if you check it out in the females, FSH, what is that? Follicle stimulating hormone. Follicle stimulating hormone. What follicles? Ovarian follicles or the Graafian follicles will be stimulated. Am I clear? See here, follicle stimulating hormone which helps to stimulate the ovarian follicles in females. Ovarian follicles in females. Am I clear? In males, which helps to involving the spermatogenesis. Right? Next one is in LH, luteinizing hormone. So there itself, luteinizing. Here ovarian follicles will be stimulated by the FSH hormone. So these hormones are stimulated. Stimulated in the sense what? Actually the ovarian follicles are going to be stimulated. In the ovary, the follicular size will be increased and next mature, rupture, the ovum will be released. So here ovum is released. So that ovulation process will be stimulated by the FSH. These ruptured follicle will be converting into corpus luteum. Am I clear? This ruptured follicle will be converting into corpus luteum or conversion of ruptured follicle into corpus luteum with the help of what? Luteinizing hormone. There itself, luteinizing, luteum, similar. Then as I told you earlier, similar terms are there. The majorly the terms you need to focus: luteum, luteinizing. Here it is. If you focus one more important aspect, I'll tell you. Corpus luteum, corpus callosum, then corpus albicans. Here it is corpus callosum, corpus luteum, then corpus albicans. Corpus callosum, these three starts with the corpus only, but here the term corpus which represents the body. Generally in the stomach, this portion is considered as a corpus. Am I clear? So corpus callosum, then what is the two cerebral hemispheres which will be connected by corpus callosum? Corpus luteum, and yellow color corpus luteum, yellow color mass of tissue where the ruptured follicle will be converted. Then after that yellow color mass of tissue will be transformed into white color structure. The white color tissue is nothing but what? Corpus albicans. Then if you have a glance on that corpus luteum, then how it is? Just have a glance on the corpus luteum, then how it is, then how the follicles are to be matured, in what way the corpus luteum and corpus albicans will be developed. Okay na? See, this is here ovary section. If you observe that these are the follicles, how those are maturing. Initially the follicle, the Graafian follicle or ovarian follicle smaller in size. Then while it is increasing, what's happening? The size of the follicle is increased in size and it is matured, then ruptured. The ruptured follicle releasing what? Ovum. Am I clear? Then this follicle which already ruptured, that has to be transformed into an yellow color mass of tissue is called as corpus luteum. Up to here, from the development of follicles by the initiation of FSH, as I told you, follicle stimulating hormone. So whenever that hormone continuously stimulating the follicles, they are going to be increased in size and mature, ruptured, then ovum is released, ovulation, then followed by this ruptured follicle will be transforming into an yellow color body is nothing but what? Corpus luteum. Then later this corpus luteum which is in yellowish color transforming into an white color mass of tissue is called as what? Corpus albicans. So you should have an idea what is corpus callosum, what is corpus luteum and corpus albicans. Then once again repeating, corpus callosum, which is a small connective tissue, connects the both cerebral hemispheres, that is a part of the nervous system. Then corpus luteum and corpus albicans, which are the part of the female reproductive system. Clear? So this is about FSH and LH. Then prolactin hormone which stimulate the mammary glands, and those mammary glands development will be initiated by the prolactin hormone. And the next one is MSH. So these MSH, melanocyte stimulating hormone, helps in the pigmentation, Then other than that, from the from the posterior pituitary, we have two hormones. Am I clear? We have two hormones. One is oxytocin and as well as vasopressin. Oxytocin and as well as vasopressin. So generally oxytocin is called as birth hormone. Oxytocin is called as what? Birth hormone. Then what does it function? Which is involving to contraction of the smooth muscles especially, and during the childbirth the uterus muscles are going to be contracted, so that helps to easy passage of the baby to outside, hence it is called as what? Birth hormone. And one more is called as vasopressin. This vasopressin is also called as ADH. Here also confusion to the students. What is the difference? Actually ADH, it is known as anti-diuretic hormone. Anti-diuretic hormone. Then what does it mean by diuresis? Simple. A hormone which is against to the diuresis. What does it mean? Diuresis. This diuresis hormone, diuresis, it is a process where the excess amount of water which can be passed along with the urine, hence it is called as diuresis. So that condition is prevented by the hormone is called as ADH. This ADH which stimulate the tubular regions of the nephron, collecting tubule and distal converted tubule, which are stimulated by the ADH to hold the more amount of water. Am I clear? Otherwise what happens? The water which can be lost along with the urine, hence it is called as what? Anti-diuretic hormone. And one more is also called as what? Vasopressin. And what basis you are calling vasopressin? The term vaso, which is nothing but vascular. It means vascular. Am I clear? Vascular is nothing but vessel. V for vascular, V for vessel. So such kind of terms are there. The blood vessel which is going to be constricted. Am I clear? Contraction, constriction, then construction. So there is a small variation. Should have an idea. The blood vessel which will be constricted, whenever it is constricted, the flow will be faster, the pressure will be increased. For whenever the renal flow has decreased, so that is prevented or increased by the constriction of the blood vessel. Suppose this is the diameter of the blood vessel. Am I clear? Which is dilated. On the time what happens? The blood flow will be less. So which has to be constricted by the vasopressin. The blood vessel is going to be pressing, or size is going to be decreasing. The diameter of the vessel is going to be decreasing. Hence it is called as what? Vasopressin. Then keep in your mind one hormone which has two names based on the two functions. Hence it is called what? Vasopressin or ADH. ADH is nothing but which preventing the diuresis condition. What does it mean diuresis? The excess water loss. And here also again we need to go with the diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus. Here diabetes mellitus and insipidus, again is a small confusion. Mellitus is actual sugar disease due to the deficiency of insulin. Here diabetes insipidus, excess water loss in the urine. Got it? The thing is, the both are diabetes you are calling, but check it out, both are hormonal disorders. At what context you are using based on the deficiency of which hormone. So these are the set of hormones releases from pituitary gland along with the hypothalamus. Clear? Then thyroid gland. So thyroid gland which is present in the trachea, near the trachea region, that to neck region. Okay now. So here this thyroid gland stimulated by TSH from the pituitary. Actually, pituitary it is what? P size. P for pituitary, P for P size. Okay now? And which is placed in a, just I am giving the location of pituitary, will come back little later. So, this pituitary gland located, the small bony depression is called as sella turcica of sphenoid bone. This sphenoid bone is a keystone bone of the skull. See, so these are all the link up. So that's why I am telling. So whenever you are going to one concept, then whatever the major terminology at what context you are using. So P size, which is placed in a small bony depression, is called as sella turcica of sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone is called as what? Keystone bone of the skull, because which can be articulating the upper and lower regions, and this pituitary attaches to the hypothalamus is called as small star infundibulum. Is called as what? Infundibulum. Okay now. So here this infundibulum attaching the pituitary to hypothalamus. Right? So here this thyroid gland releasing thyroxine. So thyroxine, as I told you, responsible for the BMR, basal metabolic rate, which will be regulated. Am I clear? So that too, this is what? T4. This thyroid gland will be having two lobes, and these are connected by a small connective tissue is called as isthmus. What is that? Isthmus. So generally iodine is responsible for the synthesizing of thyroid gland hormones. Am I clear? Right? So here this iodine is responsible for the synthesizing of what? Thyroid gland hormone. That is why doctors are advising to take iodized salt. This is the reason. Okay now. Next one is parathyroid gland. So these parathyroid gland releasing PTH, parathyroid hormone or a parathormone, and that is regularizing the blood calcium levels. Regularizing blood calcium level. Along with the T3, T4, which has a one more hormone, TCT, thyrocalcitonin, which increasing the, TCT regularizes the blood calcium level, and here PTH increasing the blood calcium level. The both are antagonistic. Okay now. Right? So along with that, ACTH is finished, FSH, LH completed. Am I clear? Then oxytocin, vasopressin, along with that MSH. We have discussed thyroid hormones, along with that pituitary hormones. Okay now. And if you go with the pancreas, these pancreas, which is known as mixed gland, especially if you check it out, exocrine portion, then endocrine portion. Exocrine portion is called as pancreatic acini, responsible for the enzymatic secretions. So there itself, if you observe that this is an exocrine portion, acini, and responsible for the enzymatic secretion. What is the enzyme here? Pancreatic juice. What is that? Pancreatic juice. These pancreatic juice responsible to releasing what? Pancreatic amylase, pancreatic trypsin, then pancreatic lipase. Here L for lipase, L for lipids. Then endocrine portion is islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans here, which has a various cells. alpha, beta, delta, F cells. Alpha glucagon, beta insulin. Here it is, will be finding glucose converts into glycogen by the presence of insulin. Always enzymes are ended with suffix S, lipase, amylase, like that. Here glucagon, conversion of glycogen to glucose. Here hypoglycemic hormone, examination point of view, hypoglycemic hormone is insulin, hyperglycemic hormone is glucagon. Hyperglycemic hormone is glucagon. Fine. Once if you have an idea about this, which will be easy, and one more, just have a glance on the pancreas. Yeah, see here, then as we discussed, the pancreas is a mixed gland because exocrine and endocrine. If you observe, these are the islets of Langerhans. Am I clear? So these are the islets of Langerhans. Fine. This is what acini. Acini means exocrine. So these are what? These parts are nothing but endocrine portion. This is a one gland which will be having two regions, hence it is called as what? Mixed gland. In that, these islets will be having the different type of cells such as alpha, beta and delta F cells. Delta pancreatic peptide F cells, pancreatic or somatostatin hormones will be released. Am I clear? So this is about what? Pancreas. And along with that, some of the terms, if you check it out here, if you go with generally letter P, P for pulmonary, P for pleura, then P for pulmonologist, then P for pulmonary respiration. So like that you can sort out the terms for the examination point of view. Okay.